Okay, welcome. We're here for our first ever of our chats with Tassie martial artists, and lucky enough to be kicking it off with one of our leading fight promoters, gym owners, and Tassie Muay Thai pioneers with in Zach Robinson. G'day, Zach.
G'day, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all, mate. I'm going to shoot a few questions at you, but I thought before we get right into your starts with martial arts and your influences, that sort of thing, we might just have a quick chat about what's going on now. I know you've been a very busy man the last 2 or 3 years with your fight promotions and your various Thailand trips and your fight wear company, that sort of stuff. So what's
got a bit on the
sort
go.
of going on right now, buddy?
Basically at the moment, we've got obviously everyone involved in martial arts is affected by the lockdown and all that sort of stuff. So we've had to shut the gym down, as you have a bit of a look at, you know, what's going on, how we can do things and stuff like that. It's looking like we're not going to be able to reopen at least for another couple of months the way it's going. Had a fight show planned for July. Next Legends, not looking likely that that'll go ahead. We have considered possibly, if there's still the restrictions on, you know, crowds and all that sort of thing, that we might be able to do something online in regards to that. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens over the next couple of months. I've noticed you've been doing online stuff, online training with your guys and stuff, which is pretty cool.
I think everyone's having a bit of a go at doing something a little different during these times. We have to. So yeah,
definitely.
And I noticed you've got some new stuff onto social media today with the Soki motorcycle adventures. Sounds pretty interesting. What's that all about?
Well, I've always been into bikes and dirt bikes and had a couple of road bikes and stuff. There's pretty much what I'm looking at doing is up the top end of Thailand, the Golden Triangle, which is famous for the heroin, opium trafficking and stuff back in the day. Basically up in that area, there are some amazing roads and countryside and all that. It's really, really well known for its riding and stuff like that. There's also some really good gyms up that way too. So what I'm looking at doing is, you know, when all this stuff clears up, probably mid to late next year, putting a bit of a tour together, going up that way, up Chiang Mai, ride around for a week or so, check out the sites, maybe hit Bangkok up on the way back and check some fights out and all that sort of thing. So kind of kill two birds with one stone, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll tie that in with a training tour or sort of bookend it or something like that, mate? Or,
yeah, I think I'll just bookend it. So those, because I know there's a lot of people that, you know, obviously interested in the training. We've also got a lot of people I know that are into their bikes and all that sort of stuff, and a lot of guys too that like their training, but they probably don't want to go and do a 2-week fight camp in Thailand. So mixing it up a bit is something a bit different, and it also gives me something, you know, I can tick that off on the bucket list as well. Yeah,
absolutely, because you've been going to Thailand for a number of years now.
About I think I did my first trip in 2005. I'm up to I don't know, 20 plus trips now. I've been doing a couple of years with the Soki tours and stuff, but obviously doesn't look like I'll be doing any trips this year. So we'll look at one we were going to be doing in March. We'll probably roll that over to 2021 in March and try and get them started again.
Sounds good, mate. Okay, let's roll back the clock a little bit, mate. So pre-martial arts days for you, what sort of interest did you have sporting-wise growing up as a kid in that, mate?
Growing up as a kid, my dad used to race motorbikes, road racing sidecars. Okay. And so he raced all over Australia. So I had my first dirt bike when I was, I think, about 4. Couldn't ride it properly, so he put a sidecar on that for me. So I've always been into my motorbikes and stuff. Did start martial arts pretty young, judo with Fred Suter in Newstead back in about 1980. Usual stuff, bit of footy, a few bits and pieces like that through school. But yeah, nothing. Martial arts has always sort of been the underlying thing that I've been interested in. Yeah.
Okay.
Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah, well, I think we all were.
Yeah, weren't we?
Of a certain vintage, mate. So I was reading a bit of your bio there you've got on online, and it said that you were first became interested in Muay Thai from watching Bloodsport and seeing Parko there. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sort of late 80s sort of thing.
Yeah, mid late 80s when all those Van Damme things were coming out, and I just thought there was something really cool about Parko, you know, with his funny looking guard that he had, and you know, he's just throwing big kicks and not much else. You know, I was sort of a bit fascinated by it.
Yeah, and the guy that played him, Paolo Toka, he's illegitimate.
Yeah, definitely.
Lived in Thailand.
Yeah, he was training in Thailand in the mid '80s. Very very prominent gym back in the day too. He's one of the first Westerners to be based out of Bangkok. So he's a legit guy to have playing a pretty cool character. Yeah,
awesome. And he was at the same gym as one of the guys that I know that is a bit of a hero of yours, Diesel Knight.
Yeah. They're all originally from Saw Tentacle. Saw Tentacle was the guy who ran that, was a notorious gangster in Bangkok. I think he actually might have even got shot at a fight show one night. But most of the big gyms back in the day were run by big gamblers and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting the correlation there. I didn't sort of obviously don't realise back in the day that the person that got you into it was ultimately going to lead to one of your biggest influences and all that as well throughout your journey.
Yeah, no, pretty awesome, really. Okay, a little bit closer to home. I believe one of your mates dragged you along to do some training, and it was probably a Rob Buell class, I'd imagine, back then.
It was actually a Craig Robinson class. So Craig was one of Rob's students, and he'd just started his own thing up down at the old Octagon down in Newstead there. And pretty much at that stage, I was sitting around drinking beers all the time and, you know, not really doing anything constructive. And he'd tried to get me to come along a few times, and I kept saying, yeah, I'll come along. And eventually he said, look, stop saying you're going to come along, either come along and stop asking me. So Steve Morecambe dragged me along. And yeah, I haven't really stopped since then.
No, that's awesome. And started your first club along, or went along to some clubs with another Tassie guy from back then, Heath Hewitt, who a lot of us will know. Yes.
Old Heath, we basically went our own way after we'd been training with Craig for a couple of years. Started training out of my shed in Oswald Street, 2-car garage, bit of carpet, as you do, as everybody did back then.
Yeah, no, it's good. And early days Tas Fight Centre. Yeah. What was that all about? Or is that what you called it at the time?
Yeah, it was a Tas Fight Centre, and what we were trying to do was create a place where, you know, you could do multiple martial arts. So Rob Buell was actually doing classes in there as well. So me and Heath would take classes with Rob Buell in there. We're actually offering No Hold Bards class, that was what it was called before it was MMA. So we had guys like, you know, Brad Lowe popping in when he was sort of starting his BJJ journey back then. Used to train a bit with Paul Butler. Some of those old school jits guys, and so we'd sort of exchange techniques and things like that. A lot of that was just learning out of books and stuff then, so it wasn't what it is now.
No, internet.
The guys we've got around, it was very slow internet.
Yes, dial up. Sweet. And then sort of late or early 90s, Tassie had its first MMA fight with one of your guys, Luke. Big Lukey.
Big Lukey. Yep.
And did you fight a Hobart guy at the time?
Yeah, he fought. I can't remember the guy's name. He was one of trained with Adam Newton and all those guys. He's a BJJ guy, I think. I had a mate who was training, Matt French, training up Burnie Way, and he'd done a lot more BJJ than most of us, so he helped us out with that. along with Brad Lowe, and so we went in with a very, very limited, grappling background and obviously a striker. So that sort of went as most did back in the day. Went to the ground and got finished pretty quickly.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Excellent. So that was sort of the start of you thinking about perhaps being a fight promoter at some stage, or it was just a distant dream at that point?
Oh, look, I tried to organise a fight show in probably the mid-2000s. Very difficult, very limited fighters. It was just a Muay Thai show at that stage. And basically I was going to have to fly pretty much 3/4 of the card in from the mainland, and it was going to have to be Queensland and all that. And I ended up pulling the pin about 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
And blew a few $1,000 in airfares and whatnot. But it's a bit easier these days. Obviously a lot more gyms in Tassie and all that sort of thing. But no, it's definitely something I've always been interested in.
Yeah. And when you guys were training up here in Lonnie, was there any dedicated Muay Thai gyms in Hobart?
Paul Shearing used to have Excalibur Muay Thai. He trained Dave Layton, who's the Muay Thai coach at Hobart Martial Arts Academy. His brother also, Paul's brother Daniel, was also a very good Thai boxer. Probably he was sort of based between here and WA, but he probably would be the most experienced Thai boxer we've ever had in Tassie. He ended up racking up like 30, 40 fights, I think, by the time he finished.
Yeah.
Him and Heath had some classic grudge matches. Daniel and Heath, yes, brilliant. But yeah, there wasn't a lot. There was a couple of guys in Hobart, but pretty much Rob Yule's been the main other one who's been consistent. Rob, obviously, he went to Europe and learned all his tricks during his stints over there. So Rob was pretty much responsible for the initial development in Launceston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And you opened a Baden's gym. Was that sort of a progression from the Tas Fight Centre, or you stopped?
Basically, we were trying to do the Tas Fight Centre full time. So we were like 5.5 days a week, full-time business, multiple classes during the day and stuff. We were probably a little bit before our time. If we'd probably done it 10 years later, it probably would have worked. So we pulled the pin after about 18 months. Heath went and did his own stuff, and a guy who'd actually been training with us actually rang me up and said, "Oh, what are you doing? Do you want to?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool, no worries." So I went round to his place. He had a small garage, and we decked that out, and that was 2005.
Yep.
So that's where Abaddon started, and we trained there in Newstead for about 12 months. Sort of outgrew that. We're getting probably 15 people to a session. Then good mate of mine, Al Blades, he actually built a 4-car garage, beautiful brand new 4-car garage, and then parked his car in the driveway for us so we could deck that out with a ring and mats and all that sort of thing. And we were there for years and years and years. So that was, we're only really training guys to fight. We weren't really interested in the warm and fuzzy stuff. You've got to compromise with the two. The guys that trained there, it was hard training. If you could handle it up there, you'd go all right in your fights.
No doubt at all. And in your current location in Wellington Street.
Yep.
How long have you been there, mate?
Been there for, must be three years, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a bit longer. I'm not good on time frames. I'm terrible on time frames. But it's a great little setup we've got there. We've got a full size ring set up, and dozen bags and floor space and all that. So it works well for what we're doing. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you've got some notable trainers there, mate. Obviously, you're the head coach, and who have you got underneath you, mate?
Yeah, we've got, I run the gym in partnership with Jacob Gelston. Jacob's we've sort of been partners in the gym for about 4 or 5 years now. Also do Legion together. So we've got a number of guys sort of that help our class. We also got Matt Branson. He takes a class a week. He's been training with us for a couple of years now, and he's it's a great fight on the last Legion, actually, title fight with Chris Crocombe. Yeah, absolute crack of that one.
Yes, it was. Yeah. No, excellent. And so where do you see, I guess, the Baddens going from here, mate? You're going to stick where you are for a while, and or you're looking to expand? What's the plans for a Baddens?
Well, look, it'd always be nice to have more floor space and, you know, another ring and all that sort of stuff. I think at the moment with what's going on with all this corona business, it's a bit of an unknown, really. Like, you know, I think the fitness industry is going to change a bit after this. I think probably a lot of your big, you know, weights gyms and stuff might sort of disappear a bit. I think it'll probably be a little bit more niche. I don't know if that'll have much of an effect on martial arts and all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, yeah, I'd like to have more fighters, more fights, take more guys to the mainland to fight, more guys on Legion, all that. That's where the passion is, you know. And if we get more people coming along, you know, who just want to try it out and get fit and all that, well, that's all a plus.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And so Legion moving forward, obviously this year's a little difficult, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So a couple of shows next year, is that the plan?
Yeah. Look, I think two's a good amount. Like, to be honest, I'd love to do half a dozen shows a year. You know, the more I love the fights. You know, I love training the guys, all that sort of stuff. Not really feasible in Tassie at this stage to be doing that. But yeah, I think if we can do 2 quality shows a year and give you know, the guys starting out a chance to have a fight, and give some of the more experienced guys a chance to rack a couple up, gives them an opportunity to, you know, not get stitched up getting sent to the mainland for fights, which is a, you know, bit of a thing that happens. We pride ourselves on, you know, not giving people easy fights. We won't match fights that we think are easy for someone. If we know someone's going to win, we won't match the fight, because that's not what it's about. So yeah, good, hard, tough fights. Plenty more of them, and yeah, hopefully we can get. It'd be great to do a show before the end of the year, but yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. Yeah,
no, fair enough. Yeah, I did hear the rumour that you might have been going to hold one behind closed doors, sort of set up no crowd, that sort of thing. But yeah, I guess that's a bit unknown as well. That sort of thing.
Yeah, look,
not thinking of buying an island or anything, mate.
Well, you know, it's always, you know, Mariah Island or something. Yeah, look, if we could put something together like that, you know, and if the rest of the world was still in lockdown and we could actually put a show together, like that would actually be something pretty cool to do. But yeah, you just have to. Yeah. Might leave that to Dana White.
Yeah, Fight Island sounds interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your Thailand trips that you've done.
Yep.
You say you head over for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, most of my personal trips, I've gone from anywhere from like 12 days to a couple of months. With the trips I organise, I think the longest so far has been, I think, 13 days. Finding 10's pretty good.
Yep. Pretty good
number. It's not too long. Easy for people to get leave from work and all that sort of stuff. Some people get a bit homesick too, you know. So you've got to cater for everybody. But you know, if people are interested in doing longer ones, like I love it over there. It's a way for me to go away, so it's cool, you know.
Yes, no, absolutely. And how do people who have never been there, and you know, they obviously have an expectation of what they think it's going to be like. They get over there. How do they go? Some of them.
To be honest, some
like totally different.
I've had some people who have been really surprised with how quickly they've adapted. The main thing to adapt to is the heat. You know, it's hot. You know, so you go from training in Tassie. You know, like it wouldn't be often that we'd train in temperatures over 30 degrees. You know, where
hardly ever.
By the end of your morning session over there, it can be 30 degrees. You know, and the Arvo sessions are brutal. So that's probably the biggest adjustment. Most of the gyms I take people to are gyms that are experienced with tourists. So they're not there to, you know, bash you up or anything like that. So you pretty much sort of get out of it what you want. Some of the guys only want to do one session a day, and that's fine. Some of the guys like to do 2 sessions a day. You get guys like your Damon Upton Greers and all that. Like he's come along on trips, and you know he can handle the 2 times a day. No dramas. Then you get some other people, they just want to do 1 session in the morning and then go and do a bit of touristy stuff. So they're pretty flexible, you know. So you do what you want, and you go as hard as you want as well, you know. So it's if you want to really go over and flog yourself and train with the good guys and clinch with the good guys and all that sort of stuff, well, you can do that. But if you just want to go along and, you know, enjoy, you know, the experience in a bit more of a laid back way, you can do that too.
Yeah, cool. And you organise everything from their flights, accommodation, getting from the gym to gym, that sort of thing. It's all included in your package.
The whole lot.
Yeah.
So I take people to training every day. I take them back from training. I organise everything. Only thing I don't organise is food, because obviously everybody's different. Some people eat breakfast, some people don't want breakfast, all that sort of stuff. So you organise your own food. That's pretty much it. We go to fight nights and that's all covered and all that sort of thing. So yeah, take care of all the stuff. So you don't really have to think too, because I know my first trip it's a bit intimidating, just trying to get your head around the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I imagine so. Oh, that's good. And you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have in Tassie that have thought about doing it, but you know, they and a bit because they don't exactly know what's going on. So hopefully, after listening to that, they go, yeah, no, that's definitely something I want to do.
My only regret, mate, was that I didn't go earlier. That's my thing. Was I wished that I'd gone when I'd 12 months into my training rather than waiting for 5 or 6 years before I went.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's amazing.
Yeah, and the gyms over there, you know, there's obviously your top gyms. You sort of visit, like some of them are set up for Westerners and that sort of thing, and there's obviously the more local type stuff. You visit sort of a different type each time, or there's set ones you go to every time.
Yeah, it depends on the trip. Like the last Bangkok Pattaya trip we went to Fairtex Gym in Pattaya. That's where Yod Sanklai trains. Our first session there's Yod Sanklai training next to us on the pads, which is pretty amazing. We went and trained at Sylvie Von Douglas's gym, Petrolane. That's a traditional gym. They cater to Westerners, but they haven't changed any of the training for Westerners. So that's a very old gym too. That's 30 or 40 years old. They have genuine stadium fighters, so you can train with those guys, you can clinch with those guys and all that sort of stuff. The guy who runs it, Kru Nu, he's a lovely guy. It's hard training, but he makes sure you're looked after and all that sort of stuff. And then another guy we train with on that trip is Rambar, and he's first ever Thailand Muay Thai MMA champion. He's been Muay Thai champion, and he has this tiny little gym out in the back streets, and we went and trained with him and just a couple of his trainers, just a one-on-one session, you know. And so awesome. bit of everything. And then in Bangkok you got Yokkao Gym where Sanchai and all that train as well. So bit of everything. It'd
be interesting to see Sanchai going about his business, I imagine.
Oh mate, unbelievable. Like just effortless. Everything. I just stood there and just watched him hitting the pads, like, you know, just going, wow, you know. And he's not young anymore either.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Late into his 30s and still doing it beautifully.
Yeah. How many fights has he had? Sort of like it's in the hundreds, isn't it?
Oh, I think he's about 350.
That's a lot
around that.
That's crazy. Yeah. Isn't it? That is crazy.
He only fights sort of easier fights against Westerners now.
Yeah.
Probably hasn't fought any top guys for probably 4 or 5 years. But up until like his early 30s, he was still fighting the stadium guys, which is unheard of. But
Okay.
Absolute gun.
And, moving a little bit on from that, your Asoki fight, you've got the the hoodie on there tonight.
Yeah, mate. Yep.
Yeah, which is good brand promotion. We like that. So
Got to do it.
what's involved with that, mate? It's just a bunch of shorts, or what are you doing there?
Oh, I've lost you there.
Okay, sorry, mate. Yeah, shorts, and what else are you doing there? It's just a fightwear range, or you're doing?
Yeah, look, I just had a bit of an idea just to make some shorts and stuff, and had a contact in Bangkok who could help me out with getting them made. So I started coming up with some designs. So I design them, and the colours and the logos and whatever. I send them off to my guy in Bangkok, and then it's interesting what I get back sometimes. Sometimes it's nothing like what I've given them. Sometimes that works out well.
Yep.
Sometimes it's kind of like, I don't know what I'll do with these. I think I'll probably have to keep these. So I started doing that. Sort of a few hoodies, a few t-shirts, all that sort of stuff. Yep. And then thought I'd just incorporate, because I had people wanting to go to Thailand as well. So I thought, I'll just roll it all into one.
Brand.
And just brand it and do that. And so I've sort of just slowly been plugging away with that in between the other bits and pieces that I've got going.
It seems you wear quite a few hats, mate.
Yeah, wear a couple, mate. You got to keep busy, mate. You got to keep busy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what does a soakie mean? Does it have a meaning?
Well, the correct way to say it is actually a soak, but everybody says a soakie. So even I say a soakie now, because a soak, people just read it and say a soakie. It's actually a place in Bangkok, and it's pretty much where we stay every time we go to Bangkok as well, in that area. Very, very busy area, right next to Yokkao Gym as well. Yeah,
nice.
Sounds very Japanesey though, doesn't it too?
It does a bit, which is all good, I guess. Thinking of branching out in that area a bit more to incorporate maybe some fights, whether they're focus mitts, pads, gloves, shinies.
Look,
you can do all
mate,
that.
Myself and Jacob have actually been looking at doing some glove stuff and that. At the moment, we're just trying to sort out finding some quality. There's a lot of people out there make up brands, but it's pretty dubious stuff, some of it. So it'd have to be decent quality stuff to bother with it. So we're just sort of going through that process at the moment. So we'll sort of see what we can come up with. There's not much else to do at the moment, is there?
No, that's it. No, exactly right. All right. Well, that's all pretty good, mate. So what's in store for Zach Robinson in the next couple of years, mate, with everything?
Well, getting married in January.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Probably quite a few trips to Thailand. It would be nice. I've been doing security for 14 years now, so I still work full-time in security. So it would be nice to get all these other things I've got to a level where I don't really have to do that much. Like, look, the one positive with security is you do get to stay reasonably sharp with stuff and all that sort of thing. You soon find out what works, especially as far as, clinching type stuff and grappling type stuff. So I sort of worked out a long time ago what works and what doesn't. So, to answer your question though, it'd just be nice to get to a stage where didn't have to do much of that, could focus on this other stuff a bit more. To me, it's all about lifestyle. Look, I'm not concerned about, driving around in flash cars or anything like that. I'd just be happy to have a reasonable income and be doing things that I enjoy doing. Yeah. Yeah,
no, that sounds like a perfect recipe for life, actually, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's great. And just with your own training and that at Abaddon's, you do a lot of private stuff for people, at all levels, I imagine.
I do a bit, probably not as much as I'd like to. Again, working shift work makes it difficult because, people don't want to do a Wednesday afternoon one week and then a Monday afternoon the next week. You obviously want to get a bit of continuity with it. But yeah, like I the main thing who I like training the most are enthusiastic people. Like, I don't care if you're good or you're bad or you're a beginner or advanced. Like, if you're enthusiastic and you want to learn, like, it's good you sort of feed off that a bit, which is good. Keeps you young.
Yeah, well, we could all do with a bit of that, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we might wrap it up there, mate. I really appreciate having a chat with you tonight. And, yeah, hopefully we can get a bit of interest in the Tassie martial arts community behind having a chat to guys like yourself, pioneers and characters around the scene, because there's plenty of them out there. And,
there is, mate.
And I'm sure there's some interesting stories. So thank you very much.
Definitely.
And hopefully we can catch up soon, mate.
Thanks for the opportunity, Brent. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, mate. We'll catch you later.